Curious about change management. Obviously, in 60 years, I'm sure you've seen a lot of change in your organisation. What are some of the things that you've learnt going through change processes that have really worked for you, and why is that the case?
Oh, it's far more than ever to do with the customer. It's chalk and cheese to what it used to be. It's all now about the customer. I can't overemphasise enough to people in business that I don't care what they do. They're not in business. They're there to look after the customer. Now, I know that sounds a bit weak and wishy-washy. Well, I'm not weak and I'm not wishy-washy, I can assure you of that. You've still got to make a profit. You have the iron fist and the velvet glove. But it's all about the customer. And the customer now has never been better informed. They never expected as much as they do. They've never been more demanding. And you've got to raise up to that. And the biggest problem with all of that is you've got to squeeze on margins at the same time. So customer is expecting more, and we're getting less. So that's a hard act to do. But it's all about the customer. I can't overemphasise that enough. Now, people, customer service, I've heard it all before, John, in one ear and out the other. Ignore that at your peril.
And I mean, so some of the things you're talking about there could be improving efficiencies and so forth. But how have you found has it worked best for you to make those changes and get the team going behind you to adapt to the customer's expectations?
By training, by leadership, by leading by example, by asking them to do what I do, not do what I say, by the survey forms. I get a lot of value out of those. I really do. I critique my customers. I like to know why they came to us. I like to know what their experience was like. I individually rate the salespeople according to them. They've got their own NPS, Net Promoter Score. And just as much as it's more difficult with fixed operations people. It's more difficult with clerical people.
Yes.
That becomes then personal assessment by their managers or their peers. But with salespeople, it's easier. Well, it's anyone who is dealing with the public, because you can get your survey forms back. One way of doing it is getting the staff to critique their manager. I do that about once a year, anonymously. They can put their name to it if they want. Critique their manager. What is your manager doing right? What is your manager doing that you think could be improved? How do you rate your working conditions? What is it about your job other than wages? Would you like to see improved? That's the obvious one. Any suggestions or feedback? See, the problem is, unless you do that, unless you're continually questioning the way, you've got Joe, who's been in the job for 10 years. Joe leaves, Mick starts. And Joe teaches Mick. And Mick's been there for 10 years, Mick leaves, he teaches Bill. So you've got Joe to Mick to Bill. 20 years, nothing's changed. It's a great opportunity every time someone changes seats. And incidentally, multifunctional, multi-skilling is very important. You move people around in seats, they've got to become, all of a sudden you get a new set of eyes on something. Why are we doing it this way? The best word in the English language is the word why. And we don't ask it often enough. Why? Why are we doing this? Why are we doing it that way? Why don't we do it this way?
Okay, some good strategies there. And you mentioned technology is changing your landscape. Over the last sort of decade, how much has technology changed your business internally?
Oh, quite dramatically. We put in 2 DMS systems, dealer management systems, in the last 10 years. We did one, the first one we did 10 years ago. I vowed and declared over my dead body we'd never do another one. I had one guy have a nervous breakdown, I had a couple of people leave. It was a total upheaval. For 6 months we didn't know what we were doing. We were paying people twice, and sometimes people we should have been charging, we weren't charging. It was horrific. But I had to do it again, just recently, because you've got to keep up with technology. You can't keep your head in the sand. You've got to keep doing it.
So what were some of the lessons out of that you'd give to people implementing technology in their businesses today?
Don't expect it to happen too quickly. And if you think it's going to take 3 months to assimilate, it'll take 6 or 9 months. And will it save you any staff? Are you going to cut your costs? No.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
Okay.
It doesn't. That's a misnomer. But you know what it does? It keeps you up and hopefully abreast of your competitors.
Sure.
And it gives your customers better service because you're better equipped to handle it with the latest technology.